This is Signals from Pittsburgh. We are very happy to have our Halloween special guests here. The Godfather of Gore.
Don't call me that.
And the Master of the Macabre.
I hate being called that.
I know you hate being called that.
I'm the Maestro of... I've advised my school never to refer to me again as that.
Who?
But I was the Sultan
Who came
of
up with
Splatter.
that?
I don't know, but there's a book called Splatter Movies.
Mm-hmm.
There's a whole chapter on me in there.
Okay.
Somebody McCarthy wrote this book, Splatter Movies.
Okay.
But no, that's what I was. I was the king of gore. I was the Sultan of Splatter. I was called all that stuff. But I would think that after Creepshow, you know, with characters and monsters and creatures, that I've ascended beyond gore, you know. Yeah.
Well, if you don't recognize that voice, then you don't need to be listening to this podcast.
I just saw that today on Instagram. If you don't know who this man is, you're not a horror fan. It was my picture. You know?
Absolutely. It's true.
But I am Tom Savini, in case everybody's wondering.
Welcome.
Nice introduction.
I want to thank you. We've been planning this for a while. It's such an honor to have you here.
I'm just doing it for the money.
We're all in it. We're only in it for the money.
Big bucks.
There's no money. No, in your heart, there is no money.
You heard it from him.
He's doing this out of the kindness of
Actually,
his heart.
I'm doing it for a 16 millimeter movie projector so that I can finally watch my 16 millimeter Phantom of the Opera. I have the whole film. You should come over, since you're providing the projector, you should come over and watch the Phantom of the Opera being projected on 16 millimeter.
That'd be amazing.
I did it when I taught makeup at Carnegie Mellon. I brought in the Phantom 8 millimeter, and five reels, you know, and showed it just as an example of, you know, one of the greatest makeups there ever was, you know.
And that was, what era was that you were teaching?
At Carnegie Mellon?
Yeah.
It was late 70s. I think it was like 76, 77. And I took a leave of absence in the third year to do Dawn of the Dead.
Right.
And haven't been back since.
I mean, maybe one day, right? You're still young.
No, I had to sue them. I had to sue the school.
Ooh.
I don't want to get into that.
We'll cut that out.
You don't have to cut it out. So what? I sued Carnegie Mellon and they settled out of court.
Well, good for you.
Which is why they don't invite me for seminars. And
Yeah, they don't talk about you now, right?
Well, I was going to say, you were probably one of the few people to have an 8 millimeter print of Phantom. And back in the day, there was no internet, really.
No. You could buy that.
Oh, really? Okay.
Well, I bought it.
Oh, okay.
I mean, it's not like when I was a kid and you would buy 4 minutes of Abbott and Costello Meet Frankenstein on 8 millimeter, you know, on a reel that big. No, this was the 5 or 6 reels of the Phantom of the Opera. Where did I really have no idea where I got that. I still have it.
That's awesome. Well, now we can watch 16, 8, whatever your heart
No, we'll
desires.
watch 16. I'm wondering if the Technicolor section is going to be in it.
Oh, yeah.
In the Phantom, yeah.
We'll find out soon.
Yes.
There was a whole 3-color process they used for, I don't know, 4 or 5 minutes. Yeah.
That's super awesome.
Yeah.
Well, once again, thanks.
Are we going to get past this goddamn introduction?
We're good. I was letting you do your thing.
No,
baby.
go ahead. Ask me a question. It's only going to be as good as your questions.
Oh, okay. Okay.
Which means we're in trouble, right?
Right, definitely. We're
Because
definitely
they suck, right?
No, they don't suck. I promise they don't suck. So I want to get into first how I initially met you, and this is a little known story. Not to get too deep, but I was going through a rough time, and I went to my very first Comic-Con, and I was actually drinking and very depressed and borderline suicidal. I had a lot of problems, and I met Tom, and
I talked him out of it.
He talked me out of it. He got me out of my funk. He really did. And then years later, I was laid off, and you know, reconnecting with Tom since I moved to Pittsburgh, I got a job working for one of his greatest proteges, Jason Baker, and a good friend of mine. So Tom saved my life twice. So thank you.
When was that? You mean now?
Now, currently, currently.
I thought you were gonna say Steel City Con.
Well, you know, I met you through Steel City Con again, reconnected through Steel City Con. I got to know you as a person.
And now you're working for Jason.
And Jason, and got to know you through Living Dead Weekend. So once again, thank you for coming on.
What's the point of that?
What's the point of what?
Why did we? Because you're talking about how we met.
Yeah, how we met.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
No, because you only reminded me of that like last year.
Yeah, it was. Because
I talk about the kid.
Yeah.
I talk about this kid that came up to me, you know, and and told me this sad story, and how I felt I helped him, and then I didn't realize it was you.
That was the kid.
That was you.
That was me.
That's the
I'm
thing
still a
about
kid.
that.
I'm a 36-year-old
Yeah.
kid.
We all
Still a
are.
kid,
We
is
all
what you
are,
see.
yeah.
Well, my story isn't that deep, but we met a few times at conventions, just as me as a fan coming through the hundreds of people.
No,
you
because I thought the first time we met was at that trivia thing down in Lawrenceville.
that's the first. I would say that's the first time we actually met in more of a casual setting, I guess,
Yeah,
not
yeah,
like at a
yeah.
convention.
And knew
I still
who you
count
were,
those.
right, yeah.
But yeah, that was the first time we actually kind of met and chit chatted. Along with New Year's, we had to get together. That's where I met Jason at Suze's place.
Whose
You're there
place?
for
Oh,
yeah.
yeah.
There's a really
Yeah.
horrible storm, and yeah.
Yeah, I have to be reminded of things
Oh,
sometimes.
that's all right. Yeah, so that was the next time we crossed paths, which I didn't know. I didn't know who was going to be there. I just got invited. I'm like, all right, I'll be down.
Yeah, I don't have a chronological memory. I know I did things. I just don't know when I did them.
Yes.
In fact, Greg Nicotero had to put when I wrote my book on special makeup effects, he had to put the films in order. Like, did I do Texas Chainsaw before Monkey Shot? And he had to do, because I couldn't do it.
Sometimes when you're living in it, it's your day to day, and you're just getting through it.
Like I said, I know I did it. I couldn't possibly tell you.
I think it's more important that you remember that you did it than when.
Yeah, but sometimes people will come at conventions, Hey, remember in 1998 when I come over, blah, 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 blah. I did that? Oh, okay. I don't remember at all,
So it's all about sparking those
But
memories.
sometimes I'm surprised by some of the stuff people tell me.
That keeps it fun, I hope.
Yeah, or I know that I definitely block things out that were traumatic in my life or something horrible, okay? I don't have a vivid memory of it. And then somebody will tell me about it. Oh, okay, then I remember. But I know that I block things, like anybody would,
Yeah, we all do that,
Yeah.
whether we know it or not. Yeah.
So, how are you doing these days? What's keeping you busy? I know we just saw you in Nosferatu. We've seen you in Lock and Key.
They just told me that was canceled.
Yeah, unfortunately.
Is Lock and Key still on?
Lock and Key, I think, is still going strong because they're releasing new comics, so
Okay.
everything is good on that property.
Yeah.
And
That's too bad.
yeah, that's unfortunate.
Well,
but
I've been spending the lockdown with all my friends in my studio. When I say friends, I mean creatures, masks, props, and I decided to make a Vincent Price House of Wax bust because I've never seen anybody do one. So I now have that. And I'm doing cameos when I'm touring, give them I give them at least 4 minutes on a cameo, I get nothing but 5-star ratings on that. So I'm trying to keep that going.
absolutely. Yeah. So when you get Tom on Cameo, 5-star or don't bother.
No, it's totally up to you. You're the judge.
This man delivers 5 stars. I got to say, they say never meet your idols, and I say that's bullshit because you've never disappointed me. And it comes out of surprising ways. Like when I watched your documentary, Smoke and Mirrors, and you were nice enough to invite me, and I invited Brittany, and we got to see it premiere at Douglas. And the things that Jason, the things that he brought up and brought out of you in that documentary were things I never knew. And I really loved it. It made me appreciate you more as a person. Everybody likes to say that you're the Godfather of Gore, but actually...
That was him. We were talking about you, Jason Baker just walked through.
Jason's going to jump in for a brief cameo.
Hi.
No, he was talking about all the personal stuff in Smoke and Mirrors that you brought out of me. And I was about to say that, I showed the film in Sitges, Montreal. I showed at some film festival, and I got up in front of the crowd afterwards and apologized for all the personal stuff. And they said, no, that's what we want. And he always says that they know about your movie stuff. They don't know this stuff. And that's what interests them.
Well, that's what inspired me to make the movie, was seeing how you were as a person and seeing how wonderful.
Are you hearing him?
Yeah.
I'm picking you up.
Just how wonderful you were around your family and crew and everybody.
Yeah.
Yeah.
There's my snippet. I'm just passing through. I'm so sorry.
He was listening at the door. He had to be listening at the door. And as soon as we mentioned his name, he came in.
He just got that good timing, man.
Yeah, he knew.
Yeah, he was on it.
No, I was very refreshed by that. I loved. I started watching it, and I guess I had the expectation that it was just going to be a lot of the same stuff, which I don't mind hearing over and over again.
Yeah.
But yeah, no, I was
A lot of
really
new
surprised.
stuff. Yeah,
It was
yeah.
wonderful.
Well, people say it has heart, a lot of heart.
Absolutely.
It does have a lot of heart.
That's a good description of it, I think.
I
And,
agree.
And not bloody hearts, just hearts.
well,
Just real, true heart.
that's kind of what we wanted to do with our episode here is everybody, I feel you get unrightfully and rightfully shoehorned as the gore guy and the guy that does special effects, and you do amazing special effects, award-winning special effects. But like Tom Savini, the person, if you haven't seen Smoke and Mirrors on Shudder, check it out. I know it's coming out soon on Blu-ray. Is that correct?
What's going on with it? I don't know.
Yes.
The last time we asked him, he says, "Oh, I'll check on it." That was like 2 weeks ago.
Okay, stay tuned.
It was, and then the world stopped, so I believe they're shooting for the end of the year.
Okay, end of the world / end of the year.
And it'll be, for me, it'll be posthumous. I can't say the word. I can't.
Posthumous? I don't know.
Posthumous. How do you
Hopefully, it doesn't take that long.
say the word? Posthumous.
I think it's
Posthumous?
posthumously.
Posthumous, yes.
Posthumously.
Yes.
What did you say?
Posthumous? Now I can't say it.
But
Now everybody listening is going to try to say the word. You know?
yeah, so absolutely. When I saw that, I was moved, and that's what we wanted to talk about, just kind of you as an actor. And there was a couple stories that I don't know, that I know you as a friend, but I really haven't asked you about, that I would like to hear for the first time here. There's always this rumblings about, oh, there was going to be this great big movie that you were going to act in. I heard you grew your hair out, and it was supposed to take place in the island. I don't know if it's the Caribbean, but called VAMPIRATES. And it was right before the crest of Pirates of the Caribbean. So
Yeah. In fact, my daughter Leah saw the previews for Pirates of the Caribbean in the movie theater and called me crying, "Dad, they stole your movie." Not that our movie was Pirates of the Caribbean, but it did involve pirates who were vampires and living under. Anyway, but no, it never happened. It never happened. One of the producers died.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, and the other producer was like, "How about if we get rid of the pirates?"
Uh-huh.
So what do you want to call it? Vamp cheerleaders? I mean, it's vampirates. You can go to the kiddie section of the bookstore, Barnes and Noble, and there's a book, Vampirates. Has nothing to do with the movie, but obviously people can associate and put those two words together, and that's what we did. We came up with this. But the script was great. It involved, the only way to kill the vampires was by feeding them to sharks. Okay?
Oh, wow.
But it involved like who were the two characters in oh God, I can whistle the theme song. Mulder and
X-Files.
X-Files, okay.
Yeah, Mulder.
It involved Mulder and what's her face? What was the
Scully.
girl? Sully. It involved two characters like that, or not them, but two characters like that, who are investigating disappearances on this island. Okay, but the movie begins in 261 years ago, in black and white. I was going to shoot it in black. I was directing it. I was going to shoot it in black and white because the greatest pirate movies you've ever seen were in black and white. Errol Flynn, Basil Rathbone. Okay, it was going to be in black and white on a pirate ship called the Galaxy in St. Thomas. We had all the locations set, big fencing scene, and Blackbeard. I was Blackbeard. Truly, Blackbeard was shot and stabbed over 30 times, and he was still fighting until he just got tired and fell. And then they cut off his head and put it on the bowsprit. They threw his body overboard, and it swam for like 16 seconds before it sank. Anyway, the movie was going to show all of that, okay, 261 years ago. And then there was this kind of voodoo witch character who got the head and the body and put it back together and breathed smoke into it and brought Blackbeard back to life. He brings the pirates back to life. They get on the ship and they sail off. Now, when you meet them they sail off under Halley's Comet, okay? And so we pan up from their ship to the comet, and the comet turns color. When we come back down, we're in modern day St. Thomas or Jamaica or someplace like that. So we made a time leap, okay? And that's when people are disappearing. And of course, it's the pirates stealing people as vampires and sucking their blood. And the decorations were like there was a life preserver from Titanic, because they've been traveling for
Yeah.
200.
Oh, that's
so
a
the
really
story
cool
was
idea.
incredible.
Yeah,
okay?
it sounds
Now,
amazing.
One of the producers died, and then that was the end of it. You could own it now. You could own it for $10,000.
You can own that.
You can own Vampirates from the producer that's left. God, his name was on the John Teisling. Okay, you can buy it from him for $10,000 and get it produced. But it fell through. Yeah, I had a beard. I was Blackbeard. The pirate. I was really looking forward to that.
If somebody were to produce it, would you still want to direct? Would you be interested in that?
Oh, of course, because it's already directed. It's
Right,
already
you have it
directed in my head.
Okay.
Just a matter of going and putting the parts together.
Got to get the word out there.
So never say never. Kickstarter. Somebody buy up the rights to Vampirates so we can get this.
And I still could be Blackbeard.
Absolutely.
Oh, certainly. Give me some time to get that beard back out.
He had wicks. He had candle wicks in his hair that he would light, and they would smoke just to be intimidating. Blackbeard.
Yeah.
Just to be intimidating when he came at you. Yeah, I did a lot of research on there were female pirates.
Pirates in general are just very interesting.
Oh yeah, there were some really colorful characters back then, and they were going to be incorporated into the movie.
Well, I think it would have been a hit, especially right on the crest of Pirates.
Well, it would have been before Pirates,
Right.
It would have ridden the crest of that if we would have gotten it done. But we were there in St. Thomas. We were looking at underground. We were scuba diving. We found underwater caves. We found we went to where Blackbeard's treasure is supposed to be. In St. Thomas. We were on a scuba diving boat. That was great fun looking at locations on that. My daughter Leah was with me, shooting video, scuba diving, and she would be the judge of whether we ate the lobsters that we would catch. But they're not like Maine lobsters with claws. These are like insects, these big.
Yeah.
And she would be the judge. If it was pregnant, we could not eat it. It would go back in the water,
Fair enough.
But that was part of the adventure of getting Vampirates going. Yeah.
It's too bad that it never saw its way through all the way. Not yet.
I could see. Hey, Robert Rodriguez, throw your old friend here some money and let him direct something.
Vampirates.
I could see
Let it be
that.
someone's passion project,
Yeah,
right?
absolutely. I'm just getting chills thinking about it, man. That would be awesome.
Well, that's only one. There's The Most Dangerous Game. That's the one that I really want to direct. There was a movie made in 1933, before King Kong, 32, 31, Most Dangerous Game. It sucks. The movie is terrible. It's Fay Wray from King Kong, John Agar. But it's terrible. The fencing scenes are miserable. Mine takes place in modern day where the victim, is a stunt guy who can take care of himself. So when he's hunted on the island, he's wiping out these guys left and right. Surprise ending, a lot of swashbuckling, a lot of fencing. He has a trophy room with a guillotine. There's a fight that takes place under a guillotine where the stunt guy has a broken arm. So the bad guy, who's usually in these movies a wimp, like in Robin Hood, the bad guy was this wimp,
Right.
This feminine jagoff, that Errol Flynn could have taken out with his baby finger.
Right.
Why are all of the bad guys, make the bad guy powerful? There's a challenge between the hero and the bad guy, and that's what I did. My bad guy was a cross between Idi Amin, Gaddafi, and Osama bin Laden, where you would believe someone like that could hunt you and take off your head and mount it on the wall, okay? Very believable. So it was modern day. But recently I'm thinking it should be a period piece because I love Indiana Jones so much, and that was part of the charm was that it was a period piece, But so that's another one that's sitting on my file cabinet, The Most Dangerous Game. And we sent it to WWE. Oh, I'm sorry, we have a movie that's very similar to that. I heard about something. I don't know, it was Randy Orton or some movie.
There was
where they're hunting people.
There was a
but
movie.
It has nothing to do with it.
No.
Mine had personality in it. Yeah.
No.
But that just proves a point. They don't read it. They have a reader that reads it, and they give you a report. It's hunting people. Oh, we got that already. So.
Yeah, they don't get the nuance. They don't understand. It's adapted from a
keyword nuances, right? Yeah.
Classic novel, and I would love to see that too. So producers out there,
Most Dangerous Game, Vampirates. And there's one other one. It's Death Island, okay?
Okay.
I just recently condensed that screenplay, hour and a half, to 28 minutes and submitted it to Greg for Creepshow. But it's too big for... They want to do mostly stuff in the studio. Okay, that's the notes I got back from him. So,
But he enjoyed it.
huh? Yeah, he liked. Well, you knew the story before when it was a film, when we pitched it a long time ago. So that's another one that's sitting on the shelf that I'd love to go do, but it takes money.
Yeah. Maybe there'll be another home for that other than Creepshow.
Yeah.
Oh no, I agree. Now that it's a 28-minute episode, sure, I could give it to anybody. Yeah.
Somebody else will pick it up.
Let me know who I can send it to, because I'm out of the loop. I don't know.
Yeah.
You got connections. Ask everybody.
Well, let us read the screenplay, and then we can guide you in the anthology.
Well, I do know a lot of people, but I don't use up favors easily. People come to me, hey man, I got the script I want to give to Corey Taylor. My simple reply is, I am not a path to Corey Taylor.
Absolutely. But you are a path to greatness through your teaching, because, as we mentioned before, Jason, Greg Nicotero, who you just brought up, and I recently was actually listening to a podcast that he had done with Mick Garris, which is a great one, Postmortem, if you never heard that. It was from a few years back, and he credits, working under you. He had met George before, I guess he met you, but you really took Greg under your arm and kind of indoctrinated him into the boys.
Yeah, we worked together on a couple of films, and but I told him recently I was sitting in his hot tub in Calabasas.
I like the start of the story.
And
Continue.
I said, Greg, I got 2 words for all your success. You're good. I really said that to him, and I believe it, because I listened to his interviews and his stuff, and he is good. And I said, I think you would be where you are today if we had never met. I think because you went to California, you formed a company, you brought a movie. Because he did ask me to go with him, use my name to get movies in. I'm living in Pittsburgh. I got a wife. I got a child. I'm not going to move like that. Work is coming in, so I didn't go. I kind of regret that, but. So he went out and did all that, but he says, no, you inspired me to do all that. So because he was a med student, he dropped out of medical school to work with me on Day of the Dead, right? So anyway,
he said he was offered Creepshow. He was offered a job on Creepshow when he was in high school, and he said no. And he said it was the biggest regret. He said George offered him before you guys got to know each other really well. He offered him like a PA job on Creepshow.
Well, he tells me that he did videotape. I did a test on Fluffy, saliva coming out of his teeth and stuff, and Greg said he shot that. So he must have been.
Must have showed up for something. Though.
Yeah, he was like 14 years old or something.
Yeah, he said he wanted to. He said he asked George if he could come visit the set, and George said yes. Yeah. But
I don't remember that, but
that was according to him on that podcast.
No, I believe it, of course.
But what I found funny in this parallel is, so he got the chance to make up for it and direct Creepshow the series. Oh, and Day of the Dead, but Creepshow the series. So he missed Creepshow initially, so he got back to do it. Right. This also paralleling you.
Night of the Living Dead.
You missed Night of the Living Dead.
Because I was in Vietnam.
You enlisted in Vietnam.
But George said, I can use you on this movie, because I showed him my portfolio. But I enlisted on what they call the hold program. You enlist, and they have 140 days within which they can call you in. Well, they did after George said, hey, we can use you on this movie. So I was actually in Vietnam when he made Night of the Living Dead, and then years later I directed the remake. So
it's full circle. That's great. And that remake is very underrated. And talking about movies that could have been, the movie that exists as it is amazing. You've said before you own it and you love it. But also, you have to check out the version that could have been, the version you never saw.
The book.
The book, Tom Savini. Check it out at your website.
Night of the Living Dead 90, the version you've never seen before. Is it? I doubt it's on my website.
Okay.
I doubt, but it's on. It's all over the place. Amazon, I think. Yeah. No, or does he sell it on his own? I think it's on Amazon.
Okay, check it out. Find it. If you have to give Bezos money, do it.
If you like the movie, if you like the movie, then you'll love the book, because it's what the movie was going to be.
Right.
It was a lot more going on. So all of that is in the book. Yeah. So the whole movie, the whole movie would have been, if all that stuff was in it, it would have been more remarkable, I think, than just a strict remake of the original. But even that was more, you got more anyway, because I made Barbara a hero. There's a bit of a sequel. You saw more of Barbara coming back and helping out, And that was all my idea, because George, she was dead in the script. And I said, George, we don't see her, the original.
Right.
We don't see her killed. Johnny comes in and takes her away.
Right.
Why can't she come back and help these people out? And then George wrote what you saw in the ending. But there's so many sequences. I think the best scares come from suspense. Anybody can jump up and go boo, in that last 2 seconds. And there's a lot of that, of course, in Night of the Living Dead. But there's a lot of suspense building things that I wanted to do that are not in the film. I'll just give you one example. I wanted the zombies to have a point of view. In other words, if you see this decrepit black and white kind of decrepit point of view, you knew it was a zombie seeing. And George was like, but they're dead. I said, yeah, but they're not walking into walls and tripping over each other. They can see.
Right.
I can use this device. Like if we're sitting here talking and I show a scene 20 feet away, that's the zombie point of view. As soon as you cut back to us, the scare has started. That was for me a tool, a suspense tool. Well, I didn't get to do that. In fact, everything I didn't get to do in the movie that's in the book, I'm going to do in some movie, even if it's a comedy. Even if it's a comedy, I'm going to put that stuff in it.
But you talk about in Smoke and Mirrors and obviously pick up the book, but definitely the mirror scene. I thought that
the whole Lolita ending.
Yeah, that stuck out to me, and I really dug that. Speaking, you said great villains. So you're naturally from Pittsburgh. And as everybody knows, or may not know, that you were a big fan of pro wrestling growing up. Bruno Sammartino, correct?
Yeah, my dad used to take me to those at Channel 11 when they had the wrestling up there,
And the
Batman, Crusher Lazowski. Who else? Well, Bruno, of course. Oh, yeah. Argentina Raqqa. I was greatly influenced by Argentina Raqqa. I had to learn and do everything he could do. I don't know if you know who that is, but he would lay on his belly, and his belly would push him off the ground. He would be bouncing on the floor just by using his stomach muscles. And he wrestled barefoot. And he also did a kip up. You know what a kip up is? Yeah. Well, that's why I decided I had to learn how to do a kip up. It was Argentina Raqqa. He was like an amazing acrobat. And so
that's awesome. I did not know that.
Kind of makes me unique in that sense, huh?
Yeah. And Bill Cardille was the host.
Absolutely. Yeah. And then crossing over into Night of the Living Dead, I used to get criticism because I was before pro wrestling was in the mainstream as much as it is now. They're like, how do you like horror movies and wrestling? And everybody's like, who does it? But if you go back,
I think it's the same fans.
Yeah. You look at the lineage of all these guys have crossed over. Billy Cardell, he hosted Studio Wrestling with Bruno Sammartino. And then obviously was Chilly Billy on Chiller Theater. And then met
if you're not from Pittsburgh, that was a Saturday night horror host, Chilly Billy Cardilli. To show two horror movies, and if you were living in Pittsburgh, that's where you were every Saturday night. You were in front of the TV watching Chiller Theater. Yeah,
he was the proto Joe Bob Briggs before Joe Bob Briggs.
Exactly. Right.
And you can still find clips too.
Oh yeah, I have. I just sent Greg the final episode of Chiller Theater. Yeah,
and so check it out.
Absolutely worth watching. And his daughter, shout out to Lori. She is
Lori Cardille was. Day of the Dead.
Yeah, star of Day of the Dead, Sarah. And your magnum opus in gore. But like I said, today we're talking about more of your acting. You were bringing up villains. And I just recently, as soon as yesterday, I was doing a little research for this podcast. I never knew this, and I love wrestling. You were a villain in wrestling. You were a wrestling heel against Jerry the King Lawler, the King of Memphis.
Oh, yeah.
And I just found out about this yesterday.
You're kidding. You didn't know about that?
No idea. I was completely oblivious.
We did like 5 or 6 videos.
Yeah.
Jerry, you killed Andy Kaufman. You killed my friend, Andy Kaufman. I'm going to send Jason down there from Friday the 13th and kick your ass. And then some wrestler would show up dressed like Jason in Tennessee and challenge Jerry Lawler,
How did that come to be?
Jerry Lawler. It was his idea. Yeah. He said, can we do this, Because that's how I would get. Jerry Lawler was a big fan. I used to get backstage because of Chris Jericho. I met him at a horror convention. Hey, come backstage, eat with us in the commissary, blah, 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 blah. And one night I did that, and here comes Jerry Lawler from the stage, and he saw me, and what the hell are you doing here, And then it was Jerry Lawler that I was going to see backstage, and so he would always get me in, and one thing led to another, and now we're making masks for these wrestlers,
Yep, Bray Wyatt and a couple other wrestlers. I know there's some hush, but there's stuff in the
works.
Not
allowed to talk about it.
We can't talk about that. NDAs.
But yeah, so I was one of the wrestling villains. I guess my image appeared on the Memphis, Tennessee broadcast of wrestling down there.
Does that? I'm sure you're used to it by now, but does it surprise you when certain people are fans of yours that you meet through
It does,
avenues?
yeah. I go backstage. Randy Orton comes over. Hey, sex machine, you know. MVP, the guys with the crazy beards, the two brothers.
The Hardy Boys?
Hardy Boy, yes,
Yeah,
yes,
okay.
yes. They were fans of mine. Who else? Big Show.
Okay.
I was shocked when Big Show came over and called me sex machine and recognized me, yeah.
He would be a hell of a monster in a movie. Big Show? You think do him up?
It was suggested because, you know, we made up Sasha as a zombie. I have videotape, and you probably, I don't know if you've seen it, but you probably would love to see it. All my video from backstage following Sasha around when she was a zombie, sneaking up behind Big Show, eating dinner.
Oh, I would love that.
Oh, I have it.
Oh, yeah.
Oh,
we
yeah.
Definitely have to watch that.
Yeah. Yeah.
I guess we could build off that just a little bit, but in a slightly different direction. Because I didn't know much about your theater stage stuff until I saw Smoke and Mirrors. And I don't know if it was that long of a section, but I found that so intriguing. I just wanted to know more because you sounded so, I mean, not that you're not always excited about stuff, but you sounded especially excited.
Oh, it was the happiest time of
theater
my
stuff,
life. It was
yeah.
I had nothing. I was poor as can be. I was living on unemployment, but at night I was King Arthur, or Benjamin Franklin, or Henry David Thoreau, or Charlie Brown, or I said King Arthur, right? Yeah. I was in a play every night for 7, 8 years, you know, and and I miss it so much. That was just the happiest time, and I didn't depend on me owning anything or having anything. You know, the movies is what made me, you know, have what I have today. But back then, man, and it was free. You didn't get paid, you know.
Yeah, it was all passion.
Yeah, it was definitely passion because you can be a character for, you know, an hour and a half, 2 hours, you know. Or in the movies, it's 15 seconds at a time. Cut.
Yeah.
Do it again. You know, that's what I hate repetition. But that was, I was stationed in North Carolina after Vietnam, and I walked by the theater one day and just walked in and saw a rehearsal, Sweet Bird of Youth or something they were doing. And I just got, I have to be here. I have to do this because the Army, what is that, you know? Theater, audience, characters, makeup. And I made up a guy. I did an old age makeup on the guy because I said I could do it to an actor that I saw in the rehearsal. And that was the beginning of my theater days. So
That's how you got into working there? Is you just
I told
kind
him
of
I could
rolled
make
by
this guy old, you know. And then then I would do makeup for the plays for a while. And then one of the directors, who's a good friend even today, he said, "I'm doing The Lion in Winter. I'm thinking about you playing Philippe. Are you an actor?" I said, "Yeah, I could do that." And then that was it. That was the beginning. So, and I was the lead. If I wasn't the lead actor, I was the lead dancer. I was going to be a choreographer at one point. You know, even after I came back to Pittsburgh after all that, I did musicals at the Pittsburgh Playhouse. So that was it. He offered me that role, and then I auditioned for everything that came up. And when I auditioned for King Arthur, I had no voice. I was gone. Nothing. I couldn't produce a sound. But I auditioned and got the role anyway. I guess
that energy.
the physicality. I did the physicality. I mean, I was a very physical. I was Bernardo in West Side Story, for Christ's sake. I was, you know, Ben Franklin, old Ben Franklin, you know. And mainly because of Lon Chaney, my idol, whose parents were deaf, and at the end of the day, he would have to act out to his deaf parents what his day was like in school. So that's why he was a great physical actor. In silent movies, that's all you had. Right. So I was greatly influenced by that. I just wanted to be Lon Chaney, and that dream kind of came true because at night I would make up everybody in the cast, do my own makeup. You know, Macbeth, I'm doing all the beards and wigs, you know, and then acting as Macduff. So that was the most exciting part of my life. I go down there at least once a year and visit we have a reunion with the actors that are still left, just to hang out with them, you know.
Have you thought about trying to get back into that occasionally? Like,
well, I
I
directed Dracula here at the City Theater, and I directed Dracula down there for the same same company, stage company. But you know, as an actor, yeah, I mean, Death Trap. I mean, we scared the hell out of that audience. Because, if you've seen Death Trap, when he comes back and kills the main guy, the audience just leaped out of their seats. And then the wife dies, and then the guy that I killed gets up, and because we staged it to kill her,
Right.
and the audience was like, wow, so it was pretty spectacular. It's in Smoke and Mirrors.
Yeah.
When the guy shoots me with the arrow. I mean, I had to run up those steps, take off that sweater, put a harness on, and then put the new sweater back on with a blood stain, screw the arrow into my chest. By the time he finished his line, and there was a carpet. He was shooting a carpet. That was a real crossbow. It was very dangerous. He was shooting a carpet up there, and that guy was a drinker, so he scared me sometimes.
So there's a sense of real danger.
There was at that moment, yeah. I mean, can you imagine doing that every night, We did that show for 2 months, I think, yeah.
Amazing. I'd like to go to more theater stuff. And of course, right now, that's, that can't happen.
I know. Well, I really miss it, yeah. I miss those days. I dream about those days sometimes.
Were those just snippets that you had for Smoke and Mirrors, or do you have the entire play somewhere?
I only have the entire play of Death Trap.
Oh, okay.
I do have the other plays, but on reel-to-reel tape.
Oh, wow.
I would go in before showtime, and on the catwalk, I would put a reel-to-reel tape recorder. And backstage, before the play would start, I would plug it in with long extension cords and just record the audio. So I have Camelot on reel-to-reel. I have Charlie Brown. I have a bunch of stuff, But a guy, because, there wasn't video cameras.
Right.
Back then. As soon as that came out, and one of the photographers who worked regularly at the theater taking pictures for publicity and all that, he bought a video camera. So I begged him, please shoot this play, And he did a good job. He did close-ups. He did, wide shots.
Gave a variety. Followed the action, right?
Yeah. Yeah, but that was, you're right. It was a short section in the Smoke and Mirrors. It's a huge section in my life, Yeah, 8 years.
And once again, that's one of the things that's the most interesting is your acting. Everybody, not just parts in it From Dusk Till Dawn, Sex Machine, everybody knows that, and that's great, obviously, but just seeing you as a stage theater actor was very interesting.
Know. People thought he's a makeup guy that got lucky and they gave him a part. No, I was doing parts. I was acting in theater for 8 years before, Dusk Till Dawn and all that stuff,
Well, hopefully with Smoke and Mirrors, more people know that now.
Well, they will, yeah, of course, yeah. Well, that's what I hear. I keep hearing people were surprised to know that I was an actor before anything else. But it was the makeup kit in the attic that kept calling me, and that's that just fell on me. The idea, can you, I can do a George Romero. I can drive a stake in this guy, and you can still see his face, and that became the beginning of my special makeup effects career. By saying I could do this,
I can do that.
How are you going to do it? I don't know. I'll figure it out,
So. I'll make it happen.
And I think one of your greatest traits, besides you being so kind and affable, is your resourcefulness. Yeah, I've never heard, even when things don't quite go the way that you plan them to, you always seem to land on your feet. You're one of the most resourceful people I've ever met and studied.
I've noticed that about myself. No, even lately, my wife Jody, and this has nothing to do with movies or plays or anything. How did you do that? Well, my dad taught me that when I was a kid, Or how did you figure this out? Well, it's just logical, So
right.
But it happens. It just comes out of me. I love when that happens,
Yeah, it's really awe-inspiring. I know you had a huge family, grew up with a huge family, and like you said in the documentary, you had to do something to kind of stick out, I imagine, but you also took a lot of knowledge from your brothers.
I don't know if I felt that way, that I had to stick out. I just did my own thing.
Oh, okay. Well, maybe I implied that.
Well, because all my brothers were gone,
Yeah.
I have 4 brothers and a sister, and she's the youngest, and there's 13 years between me and her.
Mm-hmm.
So they were all moved out, except my brother Tony, who still lived in the house. And I've read this about firstborns or lastborns.
Mm-hmm.
They're the ones that are creative, okay?
Mm-hmm.
And my brother Henry, the firstborn, is certainly an artist, tattoo artist, sculptor, And then here I come along, a change of life baby, and it's almost like the only child because I was alone. And so I didn't have to or think I had to stick out. I was just interested in weird shit.
You're already sticking.
Well, at 13 years old, at 13 when Walt Disney's Zorro came on television. That floored me. You're riding a horse, wearing a cape, and carrying a sword,
Right.
and fencing. This is what I want to be. I'm born at the wrong time. Okay, I would dress up as Zorro, and maybe I told you this. I don't know. I would dress up as Zorro. At 13, you know, I must have been like that tall. And I would be outside in the street waiting for a car to come by. And I would jump in front of the car so the headlights would see me. I know the guy was going, was that fucking Zorro? You know? And I did that just to freak, you know, people in cars out, you know. But I was Zorro. I was leaping, you know, from roof to roof. You know, anyway, so.
Today, that would be Batman. Batman, I think, has superseded Zorro, but Zorro was the Batman of the era.
And I hadn't even seen the TV series. I only saw the preview
Right.
of coming to Disney, you know. Wow, yeah. So Zorro is still a big deal to me. I was going to be, I don't know if you know this, I was going to be the villain in the Antonio Banderas Zorro movie.
No, I didn't know that.
When you said you were growing your hair long, you were talking about vampires. I was doing it to be in Zorro.
Oh, okay.
Because after Dusk Till Dawn, I mean, here I am with Robert Rodriguez, and I'm doing the bullwhip, and I'm fencing like crazy outside with, you know, my friends, you know, and Rodriguez would see that. And I sent him Douglas Fairbanks. When I heard he was doing Zorro, I sent him Douglas Fairbanks' silent movie Zorro. Because if you've not seen that, Douglas Fairbanks was the greatest Zorro. He was physically graceful and agile and can do all these acrobatics. The fencing was horrible. They were hitting swords, you know, not each other, but, you know, like you see kids today. So it was terrible that way. But he was just this fantastic Zorro. So I sent him that. I sent him Frank Langella's Zorro. I sent him a bunch of Zorro films just to give him a feeling for what the movies were like. And he said, at the wrap party for Dusk Till Dawn, he took me to Antonio Banderas's manager. And hey, this is Tom Savini. He's going to be staging the fencing scenes with Antonio and playing the villain and blah, 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 blah. So now time is going by. What's happening with Zorro? I called Robert and I said something like, you sound so calm, because I thought he was gearing up to do Zorro. He said, you sound so calm. Was this the calm before the storm? He said, no, this is the calm after the storm, because I'm not doing Zorro anymore. Okay. They didn't want the flashbacks of Zorro with Anthony Hopkins, and they didn't want Salma Hayek, who was going to be the female lead. And the movie is still good. I love the movie, but it's Martin Campbell and it's Antonio Banderas. You know, in fact, on Spy Kids. If you notice on Smoke and Mirrors, there's a credit for Spy Kids that hits you. Yeah. People always say, you were in Spy Kids? Do you know the story?
Tell it.
Okay. I went to visit Greg Nicotero on Spy Kids because I wanted to meet Antonio Banderas. So I'm sitting in the trailer with Greg Nicotero. It's a knock on the door. It's Robert Rodriguez. Hey, Tom, come here. Takes me to Antonio Banderas. He says, okay, look, I want you to walk like here, you and he together, and I'm going to take your picture, okay? I said, okay, great. So while he's setting it up, I'm talking to Antonio about Douglas Fairbanks and all these great Zorros, you know, but Robert was speaking to him in Spanish, and he did this gesture with his crotch. So I knew he was telling them this was Sex Machine. So Antonio, great, you know. But Antonio was great, you know. We took pictures together, blah 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 blah. So now Spy Kids comes out at the beginning of the movie. The female lead of Spy Kids.
Yeah, Carla
Gugino. Yeah, okay.
Carla.
So she's stalking Antonio Banderas and changing costumes. She's obviously a spy, okay? She gets out of an elevator, and Antonio is standing there, and he reaches in her bra and pulls out a picture, and it's me and Antonio Banderas, the picture that Robert took on there. I get royalties from that, from the Screen Actors Guild for being in that picture, you know? I got paid $1,600 for doing it down there.
That's awesome.
So I am in Spy Kids in the picture coming out of her bra, you know, in the thing. So how did we get to this point?
You were talking about Zorro.
Oh yeah, it's how big of a. That's why I wanted to meet Antonio. You know, I had no idea he was going to take me right to him, and we were going to be together in the movie. So anyway.
Awesome. So that kind of rolls us into the next question.
Okay.
What would have been your dream acting role? What would you have loved to have done or do in the future still?
Oh, anything that Burt Lancaster's ever done, trapeze, anything that's involves swords and fencing. Well, and I've kind of actually done that, in the Dusk Till Dawn TV series, episode 9 if you watch it in season 3. That's the big swashbuckling bullwhip episode, episode 9 of the 3rd season. It's the episode before the last. 10 is the last one.
Okay.
So I kind of have done that, but a swashbuckling role, a fencing role. I was the captain of the guard in Cyrano de Bergerac on stage in North Carolina. A lot of fencing scene. In fact, the play opened with me coming out, and Valverde is the villain of Cyrano, and I have a fencing scene with him. And we got that idea because when the Three Musketeers came out, the one with Christopher Lee and Oliver Reed, it opens with just 2 swords clicking in credits, and then swords hitting, in credits. So there was a fencing scene before the movie opened, I said, let's do that to the director. And so I fenced Valverde. Now, one night I came out and we're about to fence, and I hit his sword, and his sword fell apart. Crumpled to the stage, and I went, and I walked off, as if it was supposed to happen.
Right.
But speaking of resourceful, okay?
Yeah.
Right, absolutely.
But we had a huge fencing scene before the play even started, And then, of course, fencing scenes throughout as the captain of the guard, Yeah.
Sounds fun. How did you learn to fence? Did you take a class or did you just figure it out on
My
time?
brothers, I saw my brothers fencing in the backyard.
Oh, yeah. Okay.
And then I bought books on it, and I really taught myself.
Self-taught.
I've had a number of fencing partners, Tassos Stavrakis, Greg Nicotero, in not Smoke and Mirrors, but in Screen Greats. Screen Greats. Yeah. Greg Nicotero was sitting at the table outside. Oh, we're going to start showing Savini scars? Because I got a lot of them. You can see all the scratches across his chest from fencing,
Yeah.
So I taught myself. And then I'm a certified fight director.
Okay.
There's a guy, B.H. Barry. He did the fencing scenes in The Musketeers, helped out Ellen Hobbs. The Vikings, he came to Carnegie Mellon University to do a fight class. And if you passed it, you were certified as a fight director.
Oh, wow.
Tasso and I got certified because Tasso was my fencing partner. So so staging fights is part of what I do as a fencer, Yeah.
Only you could have the dual meaning of I saw my 2 brothers outside fencing in the backyard.
Yeah. Or boxing, or saw them sculpting in the basement. They were a big influence on me.
Yeah.
Even though they weren't living in the house, they were still, influences. Yeah.
But you're just the natural could pick it all up.
I think I told you before, my dad could do anything.
Mm-hmm.
He was a carpenter, bricklayer, shoemaker, electrician, plumber.
Also very resourceful.
Yeah. He could do anything, really. I mean, he had all the equipment for fixing shoes. He made us toys at Christmas time. So I thought you're supposed to do many things well. Mm-hmm. It's just part of what, my brothers could do all that stuff too. So I was just the last link to that concept. You're supposed to do many things well.
Right.
And if you noticed, I have done many things, and I think I've done them well.
Absolutely.
I agree.
And I work alongside your grandson, James, and he is a natural at everything, and he's such a perfectionist. He'll come to the shop and paint masks, and he'll be like, "Oh, I don't know about it." I was like, "Dude, that's perfect. It's like it's in your blood." It's like he can just pick up, and he's like, "I just found this out recently about him." He and I hit it off a little bit, and he's like, "I like to hunt. I like to camp. I like to do," and he's such a, Savini is Italian for resourceful, I swear.
Okay, great. I think it really means, I asked, because Savini is like Smith in Italy. Okay?
Right.
But it means Savino, wine, a savor of wine or something like that. And I don't even drink wine,
Right. So I'm going to steal your question. So I guess I'll take credit for turning you on to Raised by Wolves.
Yeah.
But what are some recent special effects or movies that have really grabbed you recently? Something that you've watched that you're...
Wow, that's pretty... I don't know. This is not very recent, but Cloud Atlas. I loved Cloud Atlas.
I liked Cloud Atlas too. I think it got a bad rap. I don't
know why.
I
It's
think
an
it's a bit
amazing...
underrated, yeah. It's a little long.
It's an amazing movie. And Valerian. Valerian blows my mind.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Is that what you're making me see soon?
What, Valerian? Yeah, Valerian.
you
you have
gotta-
to
you
I
watch.
gotta
haven't seen
watch
it yet.
it.
He
Oh,
made
no.
me watch the trailer. And
It'll blow your mind.
Yeah,
It's unbelievable. There's so much going on. And again, nobody paid attention to it.
It's weird. Valerian is based off a old French comic book.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, so there's a history there.
Yeah, so it's
No,
kind
but
of,
from the get-go, there's so much happening.
yeah.
Spectacularly happening. It's unbelievable.
Yeah, well, I liked the trailer because it didn't give me too much, but it
Yeah.
got me hooked.
Yeah,
and you get to see a little bit of the visual style in it, which I thought was very unnerving in a weird way. It just everything felt off and weird.
At first, it was too much coming at me. I had to take a break and then go watch it again. It was just so much happening. But makeup-wise, you asked me about makeup.
Yeah, anything that's just made an impression on you as a
In a
fan.
movie, Valerian. What else? Well, Raised by Wolves is blowing my mind. It's so unusual. You've never seen stuff like this before. It's so unique, and that's what makes it. Something that's unique is what you pick up on and pay attention and hooks you, because there's so much. Go to HBO Max or go to Shudder. There's so much. I say in the remote, horror movies. Thousands.
Right.
I've never heard of them.
Right.
Most of them I've never heard of, Every now and then, if you're lucky, and I'll click on one, give it 5 minutes,
Right.
click on another one, give it 5 minutes, But one will hook you. Maybe one will hook you, So there's just, when I grew up, there were 3 TV stations. That was it, So you can imagine what it's like now to have hundreds and hundreds of them.
We're selection fatigue. I grew up, it was you went to the video store, and that's how I saw many of your movies. The box art jumped out, and Bob Michelucci, shout out to him. He did a lot of the box art on.
But think about before that,
Right.
when the only way you could see it was on TV, and you had to wait till it was on again to see it, or in the movie theater again,
We're spoiled.
Yeah, I don't know how you guys lived like that. That would drive me
Listen,
insane.
I remember I was a kid. In front of our little black and white television set with aluminum foil on the antenna, trying to bring in some TV station from Ohio because Frankenstein was on. And I was almost crying because I couldn't see Frankenstein.
Yeah. Oh, that's very sweet.
Yeah.
So we just had like a little 12-inch black and white TV with antennas. So that stuff was out there. We just didn't have it for a little
And
while.
it almost seems like it happened overnight,
It kind of
The
did
technology, yeah.
progressively, but yes, it's like
Faster,
once we had it, we forgot. It was kind of like that learned forgetfulness. It's like once we had it, we forgot never.
Oh, I remember putting a camera on the TV
Right.
when something was on HBO because I had to have it.
Right.
In fact, the first time I bought a big screen TV, and that's why I did Friday the 13th Part 1, just to own a big screen television. Because they were rare. They were rare. Everybody had a small TV, And I did get my big screen TV, and it came with a copy of Star Wars.
Oh, wow.
A bootleg copy of Star Wars. So I was in heaven,
Big Star Wars.
VHS,
Yeah. So that was in the inception of VHS. That was before VCRs were really.
This is when the Betamax was this big. When I did Friday the 13th, I had the Betamax. Me and Tasso, we lived in a cabin on the camp, not the hotel with the actors and everybody.
Yeah.
Because we were riding motorcycles through the woods and, we do boats, doing all kind of crazy shit. But we only had 2 movies, Barbarella and Marathon Man. And every night we watched one of them on the big Betamax in the camp, on a little TV.
Well, I've never seen Marathon Man, so now I'm going to check
I
that
could
out.
quote every line to you because we've seen it so many times.
I haven't seen it yet either.
Marathon Man. Oh, Dustin
Dustin Hoffman,
Oh,
right?
it's
Yeah.
wonderful.
Okay.
I have a list that never ends of things I need.
Yeah, just just add it to the
Well,
list.
it's not an old movie if you haven't seen it.
It's a what?
It's not an old movie.
Okay. I don't mind. I'll watch anything. But
True,
yeah.
true. It's new to you. I love discovering movies from. I consider, and I'll posit this question to you too. I consider kind of the 70s a golden era in cinema, like many do, and I love like underrated things from the 70s, like Warner Brothers. I don't even their like under the radar movies were all. It was just hit after hit after hit, and a lot of
Well,
it.
they had their own reputation. MGM had the big spectacular musicals. Warner Brothers with a gritty blackboard jungle, kind of thing. I grew up with all that stuff.
What do you consider your go-to era in films that you like to enjoy?
Music, it would be the 70s. As a kid, it would be the 50s. Because, I was 8 years old in 1954 when The Creature from the Black Lagoon opened in the movie theater, Movie-wise, 70s was a good time for movies. You know, and I was just thinking, if I ever meet Adrienne Barbeau again, I mean, I'll see her at a convention or something. You said the 70s. I missed TV completely in the 70s because I was doing plays every night in the Army at the beginning. And so I missed all TV. I've only recently discovered the game shows like Match Game, and Adrienne Barbeau was on the Match Game. I can't wait to ask her about the Match Game.
Yeah.
They're all dead and gone. You know?
Right.
You know, this is the early 70s because I missed all TV, you know, but only just recently. And I'm addicted to the Match Game. Every day from 11 o'clock till 1 o'clock, I'm working out in my gym and the Match Game is on. You know? So I want to ask her about that. But I missed the 70s as far as TV, but movies, yeah. I mean, there were some big movies. Godfather, 70s. Exorcist, 70s. Star Wars, 70s, you know. So it would have to be, that's the answer. To me, it would have been the 70s.
Midnight Cowboy.
Exactly. That's what brought me back to my senses.
It brought you back into the theater.
Yeah. Well, it brought me back into life as an emotional human being.
Awesome. I guess another question I have for you is, God, your influence. It seems like there was some kind of magic in Pittsburgh, and there still is. But you're kind of you're the Godfather of Pittsburgh now. It's
I'm the only one left. Yeah.
You've taken over the mantle, deservingly
Bill
so.
Cardillo's gone. George Romero is gone.
You're the king of
Tom
Pittsburgh.
Atkins is still around. Yeah.
Yeah, but you're the king. I mean,
Okay.
I love Tom. No, Tom. Yeah. I mean, you're the king of Pittsburgh now.
Shit, that reminds me. Pittsburgh Magazine. I've got to call them. They want to do another article on Bloomfield on the
mural,
on the neighborhood. Yeah.
And if you haven't seen the mural in Bloomfield, right behind the Wendy's, check it out. It's awesome. What was the artist's name that did that?
Jeremy Raymer.
Jeremy Raymer.
Yeah.
Good job. Thank you. Shout out on here.
He did all the big murals that you see around town.
Yeah, he's really good.
That's like an offshoot. It just reminded me. A friend of mine that I went to school with at the Art Institute, Jordan Patton.
Oh, Jordan, he teaches at my school.
He's teaching at your
did the
school now,
murals.
and he just did the murals. That's what it reminded me of. I was excited to see that on his Facebook.
Yeah.
I love seeing the people that I went to school with successful
Yeah.
and branching out. I love seeing what they're doing, and it's so many talented people that
Well, I went to school with Holly Hunter and Sherry Belafonte. Who else? Van Heflin's daughter, but you would have to know who Van Heflin is, an actor from before you were born.
Okay.
Who else? Sherry Belafonte. Jason Alexander. I did the Burning. With
Burning.
him. Yeah.
Oh, you went to school. You went to school with Holly Hunter.
Holly Hunter was,
Burning.
yeah. And in fact, the teachers would say to her, she was a classmate, honey, if you don't get rid of that accent, you're never going to work in this industry.
That's
It's
insane.
Holly Hunter.
Right. It's like insane. Like, yeah, Holly Hunter's amazing. She did. Was it Broadcast News? That was
Broadcast News,
Yeah, one of the
always.
best
The one with Nicolas Cage with the baby, I forget.
Oh, Raising Arizona.
Raising
Oh, yeah.
Arizona.
Yeah.
That was her first, yeah.
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 If you haven't seen Broadcast News, check it out. That's like under
yeah.
guy who did Simpsons, James L. Brooks
Yeah.
did that. But I did not know you were classmates. That's really cool.
Oh, yeah.
And
Holly
obviously,
Hunter.
Burning is amazing. If you want to see awesome,
Well, she was a fat little teenager in the Burning.
and ironically, Jason Alexander has a full head of hair and is kind of buff.
And he was funny back then.
Yeah.
He was hilarious.
Yeah.
I just saw him recently at the Magic Castle in L.A., you know. He was 2 rows behind me, and the magician was messing with me. Hey, pick a card. Then he wouldn't let me pick it, okay?
Uh-huh.
No, I'll go pick a card. I said, no, I'm not going to. No, go ahead, every row. I tried it again. He would move the card. 3 times he did it to me, and I wouldn't do it again. And so Jason said, hey, you don't know who you're messing with, you know?
I was thinking, like,
Because I didn't know he was there. And then afterwards we talked. Hey, you're the only one I didn't kill. You and Holly, the only ones I didn't kill in the Burning, you know. So yeah.
so Pittsburgh has a magic to it, then, right?
Absolutely. Pittsburgh has magic. You're carrying that magic. And that kind of
I'm not the first. There's so many people before me who are from Pittsburgh. Gene Kelly, Jimmy Stewart, Charles Bronson, Jack Palance. I could go on, you know.
But you're still here.
I'm here, yes.
You're here, and you've cultivated the lives and careers of so many people, and inspired the lives and cultivated careers of so many people. I mean, obviously, you've got to feel proud about that. But how do you compartmentalize that? How do you reflect on that? Say, wow, you know, look at all I've done. Not necessarily in an egotistical way, but like
I don't think I do that. I don't think
I think you should.
But I don't do that. I'm happy that they're doing what they're doing, and I don't go out of my way to take any credit or anything, you know.
Well, it's very humble of you. But if you look, it's Night of the Living Dead was kind of like the tree and all these branches, and you were one of the branches that came off the Night of the Living Dead, Dawn of the Dead, George Romero tree, and now Tom Savini is his own tree, and you have all these branches.
Well, that's an interesting way to put it, because I used to think that of George Romero. You know, Ted Danson went on to have a major career. Ed Harris, forget about it, you know. George found those talents, you know. So I agree with you, but I never thought about it that way. It's a good way to put it.
Yeah, and we appreciate it. I mean, we love it. A lot of people who've been in the industry so long and have to deal with hardships get kind of bitter. And every time I see you, even if things, you know, or even if there's a trial for you, you're never in a bad mood. I've never seen you in a bad mood. And you're living life to the fullest. It feels to me when sometimes you'll come in the shop and you'll just sit down, it'll be story time with Tom, or you're always performing, but not in an insincere way. Always just like you have, you know, the je ne sais quoi.
You're right.
Yeah. And
Joie de vivre.
Joie de vivre. Thank you.
Joy of life. Joy of life.
Yes.
No, but you're right. I don't think I'm ever in a bad mood.
No.
It would take an awful lot to put me in a bad mood, because I just dismiss stuff. It's all about right now, you know. Right now is all you have. It's all you had 10 years ago. It's all you're going to have 10 years from now. This moment right now. In fact, I just gave a book called The Power of Now to Greg Nicotero's mother. Through we had dinner with Dr. Nicotero, and I gave that book to, because I thought his wife would like that, you know. But it's all about, if you're anxious, you're living in the future. If you're depressed, you're living in the past. If you're at peace, you're right here and now. So, and I really have had that ability since I was a teenager, I think. I just dismiss. It's not important. I don't need it. It's part of my life. Lately, I've been thinking of it as like a 12-inch guy sitting on my shoulder that's constantly telling me shit. Horrible shit. Horrible stuff. We all have that guy. He's always. Aren't you surprised sometimes? Oh, what a horrible thought. I can't believe I thought that. Well, that's Mr. Hyde, okay? So that's his name, Mr. Hyde. And when he says shit to me like that, I shut the fuck up. Get out of here. Go away. I do not need you right now. And mentally, that works. He's gone. Those thoughts stop. If you meditate, well, the meditation is just stopping thoughts, you know, and then that's the real you. The real you is the one having the thought and letting it go by, and either take it or not, or judge it or let it go. But the real you is the observer, okay? You're not those thoughts. Those are coming out of your subconscious. Those are just stored things that are in your brain, you know. The real you is the one without thought. That's the, you know, so I can't wait to meditate sometimes. I can't wait to just listen to my breathing and not have this barrage coming at me. I mean, it's not always horrible. I mean, sometimes it's very pleasant, you know. And I think that's what turns into dreams at night when you lay down and you're unconscious, you know. You're seeing without using your eyes. You're hearing sounds that don't exist. You're creating a world that's just as solid as this table in your dreams. You're God. Your intelligence is creating a world that's so full of intricate details. You're not plunked into a scenario. You created every bit of that. So you have that power, you know, and I love that. I've been reading these books on lucid dreaming. You know what that is?
Yes.
Knowing that you're dreaming and that you
Yes.
can fly and do whatever the hell you want, because you know you're going to wake up and you're going to be responsible for anything you do. And I've done horrible things in my dreams, believe me.
I think it's a very therapeutic practice to learn how to do it and take control like that. It's nice sometimes to just kind of play themselves out, but it's nice to be able to have that option to lucid dream as well.
And it worked. I just read this chapter about if you want to encourage lucid dreaming, okay? When you hit the bed at night, before you go to sleep, just keep telling yourself, okay, if this becomes totally ridiculous, and I'm searching for something all night, which is, I dream that a lot. I'll search for my car all night, and I find that it's as big as this cup, and I can't get in it, you know. It becomes totally ludicrous. So I say, if I'm doing that, then you're dreaming. And I swear to God, it worked. I'm dreaming. It became ridiculous. I knew it was lucid dreaming. I think I'll just fly, okay?
Right.
Goodbye. And I'm flying over my house, you know. So there is that power, and it's so, I think people take it for granted, you know.
I think think so too. I think it's a worthwhile thing for anyone to check out. I read books. I try it. I still have trouble. I have trouble with the stability in the dream once I get it. So I become aware. I'm like, okay.
So in other words, as soon as you become aware, you wake up.
Yeah, I think I get maybe too excited. The most successful time that I had was I created like an advisor, just that comes out of nowhere, and I'm like, you be excited for me.
Oh.
And you just follow around, and you take any feelings that are too much and are going to take me out of it. I just had to create a whole person to like feel those things for me so I could enjoy the rest of it.
But it's amazing how illogical your dreams are, yet you take it like it's real, you know. It can be totally ridiculous, but you're going along like it's part of your everyday life, you know, like, okay, you're living this existence, you know. There was a horrible thing that was occurring in my dreams. I would dream I was going to the bathroom, you know, and you wind up peeing the bed so now if I'm taking a leak in my dream, I'm very careful. Is this a dream? And sometimes I this is not a dream. This is real. I'm dreaming, but I'm thinking it's reality. And then pretty soon you've wet the bed, you know. So that's happened twice, and you know, I hate that.
I hate that too. I usually wake up, luckily. I'm like, okay, I better go, you know.
Yeah.
But sometimes I don't wake up. I haven't had that happen yet. Well, maybe when I was younger. I don't know. Yeah. I repressed it. I was like, I don't want to remember that.
Right.
But yeah, no, I have a lot of dreams about using the bathroom.
Why is that? Oh no, because you're lying unconscious in your bed.
Your body's telling
and your bladder is, you know.
It's trying to wake you up.
I wake up at least. I know once a night, 4:00 in the morning, I'm up and I gotta quietly get out of the bed so Jody doesn't wake up. You know? And we even arranged to have the 2 doors open so we don't have to open doors, so I can go to the bathroom at 4:00 in the morning.
Yeah.
But if I go beforehand, then I'm fine. You know, I wake up at 8. You know, I'm okay.
Same for me. It's a delicate process.
Yeah. So I don't believe we talked about all that. What led us to that? What was the question?
Oh man. Influences on people?
Yeah, your influences on people.
Oh, really? That led to this?
Yeah,
it's interesting where these things go.
Yeah, we love the rabbit holes. Well, we're back from bathroom talk here on Signals from Pittsburgh, but got a little insight.
We're talking about peeing the bed.
But
it just makes us more human.
Absolutely.
It does,
yeah, it's definitely endearing. And also, Tom will be available for all your spiritual guidance on Cameo. That's Cameo. Check him out. Mm-hmm. No, actually, that's really insightful. That's some good emotional intelligence.
But the point is dreams.
Yeah.
The power of dreams, you know. Lucid dreaming. I think it's therapy in some way, you know.
I agree.
Because you really are creating everything that exists, you know. I don't know if you believe in God or if you believe in a one mind and we're all part of it, or there's an intelligent force that created all this. But you are the intelligent force that's creating everything in your dreams. So in a way, you've heard God is inside you.
Yeah.
Well, I totally believe that because of the power of dreams.
Absolutely.
Yeah, dreams are, well, I mean, I get a lot of inspiration from dreams. We talk about our dreams like every day.
Yeah.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
And you remember?
Sometimes.
Sometimes
we do.
But
Sometimes
talking
we don't.
about it helps you remember
It
more
does.
often.
It helps.
Right. Or writing them down. I heard if you write them down.
Do a dream journal, yeah.
But I believe in reincarnation. So it's interesting to me that as soon as you wake up, the first thing your mind does is make you forget the dream. So I'm thinking when you're reincarnated, as soon as you become somebody else, you're programmed to forget where you just came from. It's totally logical to me.
That is, wow.
I think it makes sense.
That is 100% logical.
I have thought about it that way.
Have you, I find in my dreams, people are of all walks and all eras of my life are cast in weird roles. Like, you know, for example, Brittany would be my sister and you would be my cousin and we're going to get tacos, or like, it's like, because your brain, your subconscious is pulling for characters and you pull from what you know. So it's like, or we could be battling, or you could be selling me a car or something. But I know deep down, this is Tom Savini, but in my dream, this is me not having lucid dreams, but you're selling me, you're a car salesman for some reason. So
and especially, like, I'll wake up and I'll know that I just went through some intricate, long, I can't remember it, but I know that it was some long orange, or you're exhausted, you know. I want to go to sleep and rest. I don't want to build shelves with my ex-landlord, you know, for 2 hours. You know? And that's what you wake up exhausted because you've done this project, you know.
Yeah. No, I could go on for hours about dreams.
Yeah,
me too.
I love talking about it.
so I guess to Two final questions here for you. I'll take the first one. What is it that you still love about Pittsburgh? I kind of got that from your documentary that you came back to be with your family, and seeing you, knowing you personally, you are one of the most loving people I've ever seen. I've seen you with your daughter and your grandson. I haven't seen you with Carson, but you always talk about Carson, but you and James and your extended family.
He's my new obsession,
Yeah.
Carson. Yeah.
But what is it? Obviously, you're a family man. You love your family. You still live in the house that you grew up in, and
There was no reason to leave, you know.
right. And it's
Luckily, they would call me and I would go where they are, you know, and work, but always go home to Pittsburgh and Bloomfield. And just recently, well, not just recently, but Pittsburgh has been voted the most livable city in the country so many times. Seattle took it once, you know, but we got it back.
Yeah.
But and it's quite obvious now to me through Jody, my wife, who is so thankful to be in Pittsburgh. We are safe, okay? There's been some protests and things, but we're like other areas of the country, we're safe. We are the COVID-19 virus is very low and descending here. It's just that she feels safe, and I know why she feels safe because, I mean, we have the movie theaters are open. There's indoor dining already, you know, I mean, here in a lot of places. You know. Lombardozzi's is now going to be this great new restaurant. Fred Vogel's wife's going to work there. So Pittsburgh, what do I love about Pittsburgh? Well, I'm born and raised here. I've seen lots of other places, lots of other better, greater places. Why am I not living in Morocco at Epcot? You know, one of my favorite places. You know, but they're just great places to visit, and you know. But I don't know. It's just been magical to me. My whole wondrous, magical childhood took place here. You know, a lot of my friends who have moved away, I've never lost my sense of home because I'm still in my home, you know, 73 years. So I've never lost that sense of home. They have to go and create a home, you know, someplace else, but not the one you grew up in, you know. And I think that's a magic. I wrote it in my book. You know, I remember sitting in my dad's bedroom and just connecting with the house. It's a small little house, you know. I've seen bigger mansions, you know, but I just somehow knew I would be in that house for a long time. Wanted to be, you know, and strove to do that. I mean, I've worked all over the world, Australia, Hong Kong, you know, but there's something about coming back here. Hey, I'm an East Coast guy. You know, I go to LA, they're all fucking crazy out there. You know, it's all about, are you somebody? Should I talk to you? It's all about schmoozing. And I'm an East Coast guy. I don't do that kind of thing. So I just enjoy coming back to that and let the craziness happen elsewhere. What's the saying? The person who stays calm while all around go mad is the intelligent person, you know. So maybe I like being here because it's intelligent to do so.
Sounds like it's more of a core, not necessarily like spiritual, but you just have a connection with the city, just deep down to your core.
Yeah, the churches are still here, even when I don't believe in it anymore, but they're still beautiful buildings. And I remember the feeling of looking at stained glass windows or a statue of, you know, the Virgin Mary or Saint Sebastian or something. And man, there's a whole, you know, it's almost like a show that takes place in your head so that's still around, you know, and that still affects me. I miss the security and stability of thinking there's a heaven or hell, you know, that we were taught, because that really it puts you at peace, you know. You know, you didn't worry about stuff like that. Now, when it's all not part of my existence, I miss that security sometimes, you know.
And we're kind of living in an unstable situation. But like you said, here in Pittsburgh, we're pretty safe.
Yeah, absolutely, yeah.
I moved here about 10 years ago, and I got to say, I came from another I consider Pittsburgh still a working class city, but I came from Akron. And the thing about Akron was...
I know Akron.
Yeah.
Quaker Hotel.
Quaker Hotel, Rubber City, but
yeah.
Before I was born, all the industry had moved out. And it was the inverse. What I found about Pittsburgh, obviously Pittsburgh's bigger. We had Cleveland, but I felt that in Northeast Ohio, for some reason, there was no one took pride in the city.
Oh.
And when I moved here,
Everybody does.
Everybody does.
Yeah,
They take pride, even if you're working class, you take pride in the arts.
Yeah.
You take pride in the sports team. You are
The
from
nationalities. There's so many nationalities here.
Pittsburgh. Yeah, you can drive 15 minutes in either direction. You get, Polish food,
They're
Italian
rebuilding the Little Italy sign in Bloomfield. Have you noticed that? Okay.
food. Yeah.
But it's not just Italians. It's Chinese and Hungarians. I mean, there's just everything. Polish, German.
And yeah, that's such a good point. Yeah, I always say like you drive in any direction, and even the neighborhoods look different.
That's something else that's here that if you're watching the news about other places in the country, all this division, I don't see that in Pittsburgh, all these different cultures love each other, so to speak, My neighborhood is Italian. Yeah. Garfield is Irish. Lawrenceville is Polish. I don't know where the German neighborhood is, but I grew up with all those neighborhoods as a kid.
And it's all so close together. You can get a little bit of everything by just going 10 minutes in any direction, and I love it. And I'm not from here originally. I came here in 2008.
Where are you from?
Elmira, New York.
Oh, okay.
It's upstate New York, near Corning, Buffalo, Ithaca, Finger Lakes.
Lake Tonawanda.
Yeah, all up there. I love it. It's beautiful, and it was, my hometown. But something about Pittsburgh just got to me, and I love it here, and it feels like
it's condensed. It's all in one place. Yeah.
I just love it. It's just you get a little bit of everything here.
So there's your history lesson.
And then every little borough has something to offer. And don't forget to go check out Lawrenceville so you can see the art of Tom Savini.
Jeremy Raymer of me, yes.
Yes.
We kind of wanted to ask, what would you like to be remembered for? What would you like to kind of leave behind?
Well, I mean, I think it's already there. The smoke and mirrors will be there after I'm gone. The books will be there after I'm gone. So I'm not like, Brad Pitt and Troy. You have to remember my name,
Right.
No one will remember your name because you don't want to fight that guy.
Right.
No. I think it's already there. The legacy, if you can call it that, is there. I'm happy that it's there. But people will, formulate their own. It's like style, like as a director. You're not really going out to try to stick to your style. People give you that definition. People will say that's the Savini style, or it's Hammer film style, whatever. Okay, people give it that. You're just doing your thing. People interpret it as that. So who knows? I think I'm happy with what I know it's going to be. I mean, it's already there. It's not like it's something that I haven't done yet. But there's still a lot that I would like to do that I haven't done yet. We talked about what part you like to play in a movie or something, Would I direct that? Yeah, I would think I would take a chance on that. Most dangerous game, I don't know, that could be pretty strenuous. That could be, we're talking about living in the woods and horseback riding, staging fights, and
maybe that's time to call in some of those favors on that one. Cash in some of those chips.
I don't know. I had a great time on Creepshow, but that was only 3 days of shooting,
right?
3.5 days, 2 weeks of prep, and even that felt like a lot.
I guess for a little extra bonus question, and I've had this in my mind for a while, and obviously whoever does it would have to go about it the right way. But don't you think with all these biopics, Mr. Rogers, and everybody from Mr. Rogers to Ali to Jackie Robinson, the story of you get the George Romero and you guys behind the scene, Tom Savini, like the whole, like just kind of like the tree.
Well,
tree and the
there would
branches.
be an audience for that, especially
Absolutely.
with George Romero. Yeah, there would definitely be an audience. Dawn of the Dead is huge on the internet. I mean, it's like it was made yesterday.
Right.
People just love that movie, and that's and they consider it George's masterpiece, although he thinks it was Day of the Dead.
I go back and forth for different reasons.
But that whole story, of George as a kid throwing bodies burning on fire off buildings. That's like me jumping in front of cars as Zorro, And he would do stuff like that. Or Bill Heinzman or Russ Streiner would go pick him up to go somewhere, and he comes dressed as Zapata because he had seen Marlon Brando in Viva Zapata, I identify with that and appreciate that, Or he was wearing capes at one point because of Dracula, So maybe people don't know this about George Romero, but anybody seeing that, I think they would have the same feeling like after Smoke and Mirrors to see a lot of that personal stuff, to know George, because all they know about George, of course, is the movie stuff, Who would play George Romero?
Who would play George and who would play you? Who would you want to play you?
Me.
Oh, we're gonna do the Robert De Niro thing. I mean, they wouldn't have to use much because.
Thank you. No, who would play me? Yeah, that's a good question.
Who would you want if you could pick anybody?
You mean like a famous actor?
Sure, yeah.
But you're talking about it would have to be a very young actor who,
We could figure it out.
who
But,
looks like me. Yeah, I don't know who that would be. You tell me. I don't know.
I guess back in the '90s, I would have picked Antonio Banderas or someone like that.
Oh, really? Okay,
Yeah,
I'd like that. I'll go for that.
I could see that.
I'll go for that.
Nowadays, I like a young actor. This is kind of an oddball, but he just does good and everything. But maybe Keanu Reeves. Maybe if they did him up the right way.
I don't know. He's kind of ethereal. He's kind of. You can't like pinpoint him. You can think of The Matrix. You can think of John Wick.
Yeah.
Huge difference.
Yeah.
I just saw Face the Music. The
Wes Craven.
No.
I'm sorry. That's Music from the Heart.
They redid their famous movie from. He and can't think of the guy's name. Isn't that funny?
Oh, Bill and Ted. I'm sorry.
and Ted,
Way
yeah.
off.
Oh, yeah.
I just saw that,
Okay.
and he's totally different in that. The makeup when they're bodybuilders is incredible.
Mm-hmm.
So but maybe, But I would think he would have to be Italian. Because one of the things Quentin Tarantino said to me when he had to approve my costume for Django, thank God you don't look Italian. He said that. Quentin said that. So, but if you're playing me, you need to be looking Italian. I would have said Nick Cravat, but you don't know who that is. It's the mute assistant to Burt Lancaster in so many swashbuckler movies.
Okay.
And the only reason he was mute because he had such a thick Brooklyn accent, they didn't want him to talk. They said, you're going to be a mute. Oh, great. But he was a choreographer. He was a fight director, But he was quite the acrobat, and that's how I think I would love to be remembered as somebody physical,
Absolutely.
who did a variety of. Charlie Brown, Ben Franklin. This is quite a
Range.
leap of,
Range.
Yeah. So
So
I
definitely
played a drug addict in Hatful of Rain.
And we almost glossed over my favorite role. I think of yours is in Knight Riders.
Okay.
I really like you in Knight Riders.
Yeah,
I
that's a
think
lot
you
of
really.
Yeah, Quentin loved that too.
Yeah.
He really loved. He said you were great at Knight Riders, man. He said that on Killing Zoe. He came to visit, Roger Avery, who was directing. There was Knight Riders is that's probably one of my best things. Yeah.
I would say so. You can tell, and I've talked to Chris Stavrakis about this. He was kind of growing up.
He was there. He was like 12 years old.
Yeah.
Just think of that summer, riding motorcycles, wearing armor, fencing the groupies.
Outstanding.
It's like a dream come true.
It was amazing. Yeah, amazing time. I was the first person George hired on that movie. He was about to go to New York to look at soap opera stars. He auditioned me for Morgan, and he gave me the part on the spot.
You get you and Ed Harris, and that's what I like about Knight Riders is there's a lot of it's you have that rivalry, that friendly rivalry with Ed Harris. It really comes in. It's like obviously you want King Billy's spot, but when the cops get involved or outsiders get involved, you guys kind of band together.
Did I really want King? I think I was pissed off that he was so over the top with fighter yield. Billy, come to your senses. Remember I said he's fucking crazy.
Right. I took it as you wanted to be the lead, not necessarily be him, but
look what I said to the kid.
Right.
Stick around, kid.
Right.
I'll give you the king's autograph when I'm the king.
Right.
But I was really, we had, as actors, we had to look for some way to not like Ed Harris, because, we loved Ed Harris.
Absolutely.
So we all sat around thinking of, as method actors, thinking of how we can do this. And Ed said, well, I'm trying to quit smoking. I said, that's it. If we ever catch you smoking, that's it. It's done. We're over. And we caught him smoking. So that was our motivation.
That was method.
Yeah.
Well, I guess any final thoughts from you? Anything you want to plug or talk about or let people know?
No. No, it's out. If they want to look at, go look for, put my name, Google my, no, don't Google my name. If you Google my name, I think one of the fourth or fifth things that come up is Tom is a dick. Okay.
Oh no.
It's because of something that happened in Texas. Did we ever talk about this?
No.
Okay, I'm in Texas. I'm signing autographs at a convention, and Rob Lucas is standing behind me. So I'm signing a picture for this girl, and he says, "Hey, I'm talking to Matt Green." And I said, "I don't want to talk to anybody right now," to him. Okay, but what the girl saw is me signing her picture and saying, "I don't want to talk to anybody right now." She thought I was talking to her.
Oh.
She walked away and threw the picture back at the table. I said, "Why the hell did she do that?" Then we figured it out. So we tried to find her. We chased her. We were going to give her free stuff, explain the misunderstanding.
Right.
She started a blog, Tom Savini is a Dick. So one thing like that,
Bullshit.
and Tom Savini is a
That
Dick.
sucks.
If you go to Google, yeah.
I gotta say, I've seen you in action at a lot of cons, and I hope Jody doesn't listen to this, but you never have trouble talking to women. I see you talking to women all the time.
Well, I enjoy them. I know I enjoy them because there's no threat. There's
okay.
There's no way I will ever cheat or on Jody.
Right.
I mean, I've been doing conventions for 35 years. I've had keys handed to me, but there's no threat. I can look at a gorgeous woman and be totally honest, and she doesn't feel any threat from me, which is important. She doesn't feel like. Even if I felt that was happening, I would say, "Look, I'm happily married. I love my wife. Don't take this wrong. I'm not hitting on you.
Right.
But I think a woman with glasses is sexy." I'll just give her, and they don't feel threatened by that, because I don't mean it as a threat. It's just the truth.
It's very important.
Yeah.
Yes.
Honesty.
Coming from the female in the room here.
Yes. And I'm not using you as that example.
Oh, you weren't? Oh.
I'm sorry, but there was a girl on. I played the cop. The Grindhouse. Okay.
Yeah, and
and I said, I called her over and I whispered in her ear, "Listen, I've got a girlfriend. I'm happily married. Don't take this as I'm not hitting on you, but I think And I said that to her. Okay.
It was inspiration for this.
Well, it totally wasn't, but you're around all sorts of people on a movie set,
Would you do a branding for us?
Okay, you ready? Hi, this is Tom Savini, and this is Signals from Pittsburgh.
Thanks, Tom.
Well, thank you. That was
My
wonderful.
pleasure. I'm going to grab that half slice of pizza.